Hey, how are you?
I am good. I'm loving our new mugs.
I know.
Thank you for treating me to this beautiful set.
When I walked in, the guy was like, "Oh, you've been in before?" I was like, "Shush, yes, I know exactly what I'm getting." It was like the shortest trip ever because
we've been eyeballing them for a long time. They're so pretty. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for my coffee.
You're very welcome. Anytime.
Yes. Well, I'm speaking of coffee.
Okay.
So, you know what?
I just can't wait to hear the story.
No. So as a dental assistant, coffee, tea, I like to try the latest fad things.
Okay.
You know, like a couple years, you remember like when charcoal toothpaste was a thing?
I still use charcoal toothpaste.
I mean, that's fine. Or like oil pulling.
Yes.
Ooh. Yeah.
Okay.
So have you seen the purple toothpaste?
I have.
So I bought some.
Have you used it yet?
Yes.
What do you think?
Nah.
Your teeth are always so pretty and neat, though.
Stop it.
Yeah.
But, because I saw a commercial for it. Well, I've seen commercials for it.
Yeah.
And I've been like, I should order some, try this. But I'm like, I don't want to pay for the thing, and then the shipping, and then the blah, you know.
Yeah.
But then on a recent commercial, I saw that it's at Walmart.
Oh,
So
nice.
I went and got it.
Okay.
Is it, I mean, it's fun. I don't know. I like brushing my teeth with it because it makes your mouth all purple.
Yeah.
But is it worth $25?
Oh, wow. Toss up.
Yeah.
Because I was just thinking as you said that, it might be a motivation for the boys to brush their teeth longer because it's turning their mouth purple.
Yeah.
But if you could see their bathroom sink on a day-to-day basis for the amount of toothpaste that gets wasted. Well, one, they don't need purple, and two, they don't need free reign of $25 toothpaste.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I guess, okay, so the bottle says it's not a substitute for toothpaste.
Oh.
So I use my regular,
Okay.
use my regular, so they would have to brush and then brush again.
Oh, yeah, we're not doing that for little boys. No. Absolutely not.
Yeah, but I've been still using it, I think because I have high hopes for like what it does. And I mean, I get my teeth cleaned on a regular basis, but I feel like coffee and blah, all the things, I feel like maybe it just needs more time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, let me know how it goes, what you think of your purple toothpaste. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, we have a lot of fun things to go over today. One of the things that I wanted to talk about was increasing distance as you increase as a runner. So, should we get into it for today?
Let's do it.
Okay. This is Run in Her Shoes podcast with Amber
And Robin.
where we talk about balancing life, work, and running.
As busy moms juggling life, we want to provide a community where we encourage taking time for your mental and physical health on your running journey.
Join us weekly as we talk about our favorite races, gear, and goals as amateur runners, 1 mile at a time. So, as our running journey progressed last summer, I felt like we were definitely on this trajectory of lots of consistency, getting really excited, and registering for all these different races. And then, you know what you do to me?
What do I do? Besides take you to amazing restaurants.
Well, and for that, I am so grateful.
Yeah.
No, this whole journey, I'm so grateful, but I get really stuck in the same thing, and I like what I'm doing when I'm doing it, and I'm like, I'm happy with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then Robin comes along, and she puts this little bird in my ear, and she's like, how about this next? And so I remember last summer, you were like, how about a 10K? And I was like, what? Because seriously, at that time, I was comfortable with doing my 3 miles. Like, I had progressed to that. Our 5K races were a lot of fun. I was like, this is what I'm doing. And I was comfortable with it. And you're so good at like getting me out of my comfort zone and being like, we're going to try this next. So you're like, how about for the fall color run, we're going to do the 10K option.
Yeah.
I said, okay. But then it was great because the color run that we did, it was in the fall, so that gave us plenty of time to work up in distance. And like the more that I added, it wasn't as scary anymore to get to 6 miles from 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like too, that's when I decided that like a half isn't too far off, because don't you feel like you get done with like a 5K and you go, well, I think I could go out and do that again.
Yeah.
And that's a 10K.
Sure.
So I feel like you get done with a 10K and you're like, could I go out and run that again? And it's probably more in your head, like this high of like, I just got finished, I could totally do that again. So it's just this easy stepping stone of like, well, I could go do that again.
Yeah.
Like I could turn around, go back, do that again. And then that's a half. Like,
so let's do it.
Yeah.
It is a mental game, and that's what I've learned really over this past year is, like, of course your muscles have to be ready, and I'm not saying, like, if you just wake up out of bed one day and tell yourself you can go run a half marathon, no. Take the steps to increase your endurance to do it, but once you're in that routine of running, it is a lot of a mental game where you just tell yourself, I could go do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was helpful. But it was put on by, again, our local race, One Love Endurance. And they always do such a good job. They have the timed bibs, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
And I have some family in that area because this race was like 30 minutes away from our house. So a little bit of just a day-to-day drive to get there, whatever. But I hadn't ran in that town before. And my family that was there was like, oh yeah, that's a really pretty run. The leaves are changing. You know, you get to run up this road. And they kind of made it sound like, oh yeah, that's all it is you just run up this road and then the rest is downhill. And I thought, oh, great. This is going to be a wonderful 6 miles.
Yeah.
And so I remember we took the boys that day, our little boys, because our husbands were off hunting sheep. So we were like single momming it. Yeah. but really, like,
we're not going to not do this. We were going to figure it out.
Yeah, we're committed. Yeah. So luckily the family that live in that town, they were like, sure, we can watch the boys. It started at a park. Yeah. So that was wonderful because the boys could just go play in the park for the whole time that we were running. They were going to watch them and all of that. Yeah, so we get to the park and like getting set up. I felt like we either got there really early or the race maybe didn't start on time. I felt like we were there for a long time before it started in my mind. So I remember having this anxiety of like, oh,
it's all building up.
Here it is. Yeah, but started that run off and it was uphill. Yeah. For that first part. Yeah. It was like almost cursing you in my head. Why did I say yes to this?
Well, and I loved how it started and ended at the park, but it's funny because you walk just beyond the park to the start line, and you're almost in this like weird residential area where you're kind of like, what's happening? But very quickly you're out of it, and you know, you're running on these great county roads. I mean, it is all paved, which you either like, I feel like people have their opinions on like all paved or whatever, but some really good views.
Really good views. They had great staff along the way. Honestly, that is my favorite part about the races, is to have people cheering you on with the cowbells at every step. Yeah, I like that because it's just like, oh, I made it. I'm at a checkpoint, you know, and it's like, oh, good. Like if I could have my own cheering squad on all my runs, I'd probably go a lot farther. You not so much?
I don't know. I mean, like, let's not kid. I'm not the fastest runner out there. To me, sometimes it just feels like, oh, save it. Like, you've said it to how many people before you say it to me? I don't know.
Oh, I know. But even though they've said it to so many people before we get there, like, they're still genuinely excited, it seems like, and cheering you on.
They're good, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't seem fake about it.
No. Yeah.
But sometimes I just feel like, save it for, we all know what this is. It looks like, okay.
I get that too. Yeah. But it was a beautiful course. And I don't remember seeing a ton of changing leaves, honestly. It was hot by the end of it. Yeah. A stretch of it was pretty wide open and flat. Yeah. And then like the last third, I think, was downhill.
Yeah. I think the weather's so unpredictable, but the last couple of years it's just been so weird. So, I mean, sure they call it a color run, and maybe it was a color run however many years ago. But yeah.
Oh my gosh, did I tell you though, like the last half a mile, because you kind of come through this residential area again, and I was by myself at that time. There was nobody really around me. And this huge buck comes running. I'm not kidding you, like 3 feet in front of me, full speed, crosses in front of me, in front of the road. This truck was coming down the road, almost hit the buck. It was so crazy. And like my adrenaline was already up, right? Because I'm like, I only have like a half a mile left. I'm almost there. And then that deer came out and startled me. So I always think of that for that race. But by the time I got done and like unwound, I kind of in the moment forgot about it. But
that's funny.
Did I tell you about that?
It sounds vaguely familiar. Yeah. But I bet when we do it again, when you get to that spot, you'll be like checking for deer.
Yeah. Like that was when I wish I would have videoed, like somehow had like a GoPro or something, because that was unreal what you would have seen in that. Anyways. Yeah. But that was really fun. And then that was the only race that I've ran so far to have my kids at the finish line, which was really sweet.
Okay. I'm glad your kids were sweet. Jack pissed me off, to be honest. He didn't know what was going on. Well, no, he told me I should have ran faster.
Oh.
And so I was like, you get the fuck away from me before I throw you in this river. I just like did not need to hear it right finishing,
Right, because you just finished your first 10K.
Right. And so, like whenever I would leave for races before, it was like, get first. And I'm like, I'm just there to run, buddy. I'm not coming home with a first place medal. Like,
that's not my goal is to place or hit a specific time or anything like that. I just want to finish.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad you think I could run that fast, but also don't talk to me right now.
When he gets older, you're going to have to be like, join this race with me. Like, let's run it and see if you get first or not. Right? Of course, like we've said before, those young boys, they always seem to get first anyways. But yeah. Well, we just haven't had our family at the finish line before. So, and even like to have my family there and they were cheering us on. Yes. I mean, it was fun to have.
Older people were great
to cheer us on. Be like, you just did this. It was amazing. So that was fun. And then, we played at the park for a little bit longer because it wasn't quite lunchtime yet. And, like, I could have gone and eaten, but, of course, the boys were probably not quite ready yet. Yeah. I was so cold after that race because we were all in the shade, and I think it was getting windy, and I was sweaty from the race, and I'm like, it was so cold.
Yeah. And the boys were wanting to like strip and we're like,
I should have brought dry clothes. And that might need to be a thing that I remember after my races, is something to change into afterwards. It's not like soaked and sweaty.
I mean,
that hasn't crossed my mind
add it to the
now.
list.
Yeah. But then we went and ate.
Yeah, that was so good.
Oh my gosh. Crave in Buena Vista.
So good.
Has the best pizza and crust and bread. And that appetizer, what is that we get? It's like a cheesy bread stick loaf almost. And then you dip it in their homemade marinara.
Yeah. So was that the first time you had eaten there? No, you had eaten there before. Time. Okay, yeah.
But, I mean, now every time that we do go, I want that appetizer because it's so good.
Yeah. The first time me and Jack went, if you have little kids, and I can't remember how the tables all are, but we got to sit on the other side of the glass to watch them make the pizza.
Oh, we haven't been able to sit on that side of the restaurant yet.
So that was fun. But I think they're high, like, 2-person tables. Oh, so it was just me and Jack. Aww. So that was fun. And then, do you remember when the whole family were in BB, and we were like, the girls are going to go off and do our thing. The boys are going to take the little boys. And we're going to go off to there. We're going to go have lunch. And we assumed we were going to go eat at like a different place. Yeah. And
they were closed for a wedding. Closed,
and we were like, shoot, where do we go? And I think we tried one other place and they were closed too. And we were like, okay, well, let's just go to Crave, because it's really good. And we like walked through the door and our boys were there, and like clearly the two groups knew each other. So the hostess was like, how? And we were like, nope, separate.
No, we don't want to sit with the boys. This is a girls' day.
Yeah.
But there was only like 2 tables between us.
Yeah. It was hilarious because I don't know if I told you, but because I was facing them.
Yeah.
So I could see that one of the little boys had spilled their soda.
Oh, no. Let me guess who that was. One of mine.
I have no idea. But it was just so funny just to sit there and watch and be like, I don't have to deal with that.
Right.
And I'm not going to get up and help you. And I'm just going to sit here.
I'm just going to enjoy this girl's day,
Yes.
knowing what would be happening whether I was here or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So funny. Oh, well, that was delicious. And the next race we do in Buena Vista, I will eat there again.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. I got a new running hat.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
I love a running hat.
I haven't had like an official running hat before. I've just had baseball caps.
Okay.
Are all running hats? This sounds so naive, but it's got a adjustable back to it.
Uh-huh.
Do all of yours have that too?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm sold. So one of my new addictions is now going to be running hats that adjust because my baseball caps that I have, clearly it is always windy here.
Yeah.
They always fly off while I'm running or like start to go up and I'm adjusting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wore it today on one of my runs and I didn't have to worry about the wind or which direction I was going. So I'm sold. I wish I would have known about this sooner. But yeah, I was looking into it just because our half is getting closer. And I was like, okay, what else are my must-have gears? Like, what do I need to have to be prepared to go? And that hat was one of it.
I know. Because since I'm growing my hair out,
yeah,
I've been like, well, I wonder if I can put it up.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm like, I feel like I still want a hat just to have a little bit of like shade.
Yeah.
But
I mean, and it's going to be in Utah, so my vision is that it's going to be warm, hot, sunny.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope so. I hope it's not rainy and cold and windy. But either way, a hat will be a must-have. So if you get any more, let me know what kind you get. But we're thinking about other ways to train for the half that's maybe a little bit outside of the box.
Yeah.
But from what we've learned about what we're going to talk about is a lot of people use this for a training method in Colorado.
Yeah. So tomorrow.
Yes.
We're going, or should I say tomorrow?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. Tomorrow, we are all scheduled to do the incline, known by the locals as the Incline.
The Incline.
It's in Manitou Springs. Manitou Springs.
See, you teach me how to say things in Washington. I'll teach you how to say places in Colorado. Okay.
Manitou Springs.
And
so it is currently, what it is basically a staircase. Outside, made by railroad ties. And there's over 2,744 steps that you're taking, just coming in just under a mile. And it's up this hill, mountain, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to hike that.
My legs almost hurt just thinking about
I
it.
know.
But we're not going to be running up it.
No,
just pacing ourselves steadily.
Yes.
Right.
Oh my gosh. So, I mean, you already know that I did this, like 4 or 5 years ago.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Like, the boys were in preschool.
Yeah. I totally started too fast. It's a nice, level, very gradual, and then it kind of shoots up.
Okay.
I gassed it too fast at the beginning because I just thought, this
Stairs.
is
it's only
great.
1 mile.
Yeah, this is great. But yeah, so we'll need to pace ourselves from the beginning. I'm
glad I have you as my guide because I might go in initially trying to be ambitious about it too.
Yeah.
But I want to be able to walk the next day.
That's also nice. But going back, the incline became a tourist attraction after it was purchased by Dr. Newton B. Brumback.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then later Spencer Penrose. So like I said, it was an actual train track that served many purposes. When that was decommissioned, then it became like a tourist attraction where they would kind of ride rail cars up to just see like these views.
Yeah.
You're going to get to the top and the views alone are just worth it.
Yeah.
Like
I've been following a group called the Manitou Incline, and these people post their pictures. Some people in the area do this every day. Wow. But their pictures are gorgeous. You can see the whole city from where you're at. I'm so excited to see that view. Yeah. So I can see why tourists would want to just take a train car like normal people to go see that view.
Exactly. And then eventually that got decommissioned as well. And then in 2013, they opened it back up to the public. So I'm sure they had to do lots of, I don't want to say making it safe, but like I'm sure they had to clean things up.
Sure.
Make sure that, I'm sure there's a lot of maintenance that goes into that.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, probably for safety reasons too.
Yeah.
There's warning signs all over the website, the group, you know, where they're just like, if you can't handle it, don't.
If you can't handle it.
Just warning, this is harder than it appears.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will be firsthand to tell you that I died a million times up there. And when I was not a runner when I did it, and I don't want to say like wasn't active, but just like not as active as I am now.
Right.
So my idea of like training for the incline was to just go to the gym and put the treadmill at like a super steep incline. Like and doing it for a mile.
Oh, and it wasn't comparable?
Well, no. Because what I found out quickly is like the treadmill paces you. You can't, you know what I mean? Like you have to walk as fast as you set your treadmill to. So my like 15 minutes, you know, on the treadmill translated to like over an hour on the incline. Where very quickly it was like, this is not the same.
Lesson learned.
Yeah. It's like I'm excited to go back because I've always wanted to go back and just be like more prepared. Right. See what I can do now.
Yeah.
The other thing that you have to be careful of.
Okay.
And when I went, so I'm not sure how long they've been doing this, but you have to reserve like a wave time because they don't want like everyone showing up at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
to go. They reserve so many spots.
Okay.
To, kind of.
Just crowd control.
Yeah, exactly.
For safety, I'm sure.
Yeah, probably. So then they have volunteers there. I don't know if they're getting paid, but they have people there to kind of check in. And at least they told me, I heard people complaining but there's a false summit.
Oh.
And you totally get to a spot where you're like, oh, there's the top. And then you reach that false summit and you're like, I still have more to go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's about 2/3 of the way up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will make a mental note of that.
Seriously.
Before I start.
I don't want to hear when we get there.
Yeah,
that
we're done.
Yeah. But there's also a bailout at that point too. So you can connect to a trail if you want.
Okay, so people don't turn around and walk down these stairs.
People do, but they really don't like it.
I would have jello legs at the top. The thought of going down that many steep stairs, I think I would somersault down them.
I have fallen down enough stairs that I don't need to fall down 2,000 of them.
No. Okay, so you catch a trail to go down.
Yeah. It's called the Bar Trail. Okay. And it's about 3 miles.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a nice little walk or whatever down. And then I don't know if I'm thinking about a different type of, because the Manitou's not the only incline like in Colorado.
Okay.
But I think I read that they added other bailouts too.
That seems smart.
Yeah.
To keep people from turning around.
Yeah. So I think there's 3.
Okay.
And then, of course, at the top, you can catch the Bar Trail down.
Okay. My goal is to get to the top.
Yes.
The real top.
Yes. But something that cool that happens there on September 11th, The local, like firefighters, first responders and stuff don 60-pound backpacks, and they do it for the people that died in the towers.
Oh, to like simulate going up all of the stairs. Oh my gosh.
So
wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's open to like public, like also doing it, but at least they do it on that day for those first responders. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
And then, so like I said, just under a mile of stairs. The elevation gain is 2,020 feet.
That's steep.
Yeah. So in a very short. And then the base elevation is 6,530 feet, and then we'll end at 8,550 feet.
Okay, so we're gonna feel it tomorrow. Yeah, what I'm hearing. Okay.
And then the average grade is 41%, but the steepest is 68.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whew.
So what I'm getting at is the difficulty level is
extreme.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Do not decide to do this
on
like tomorrow. Yeah. I mean, we've been talking about it for like, a couple weeks now. Yeah. But yeah, don't just show up and think you're going to do this.
Okay. Noted.
But they get tons of Olympians that do it. And of course, they're setting records on this thing like nobody's business.
So like our treadmill time.
Yeah. There you go. And a lot, like you said, a lot of the people, like local people, there's different records for like how many times you do it in like a day or like a year or whatever. So yeah, Olympians summit around under 30 minutes, but most people takes about an hour.
Wow. And
Paulo Anton Ono, he's
a speed skier, right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So he was just 20 seconds behind Joseph Gary. He ran the incline in 17 minutes, 25 seconds.
What?
In 2015. And then Apollo Ono was just 20 seconds behind him.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy fast.
Yeah.
But I remember watching him in the Olympics. Like that guy's quads are...
He's got some quads.
He's got some quads. He can handle 2,000 stairs in 17 minutes.
Yeah. And then there is a record held by George Cummings, who ascended the incline 1,825 times.
In a year?
Yes.
Or just total?
So January 12th, 2019 to January 11th, 2020.
Does he work?
I know. Like,
are you retired?
Right.
How do you do this?
But also, like, do you just, like, reserve every time slot
right.
available?
Mine.
Yeah. So just like, yeah, I'm going to do this.
Oh, wow.
Or do you just show up like everyone just know? Like, there's Gary.
Record set Gary.
Yeah.
Good for you, Gary.
That's
something that I am not sure I could do. So
yeah, I'm like happy to do it once every couple of years.
Yeah.
Not
1,000 sometimes in 1 year.
Yes.
Dang.
Yes.
That's crazy. Well, no matter what the weather is, the people that I see are still doing the incline. And some of the most beautiful pictures that I've seen are these people at the top. The stairs are all covered in snow, and then they're looking out, and they are above the clouds in the city. So I guess no matter what the weather, people still do it. But I was thinking about what shoes I'm going to wear for tomorrow. Yeah. Because I'm a little worried. It's been kind of like hit and miss with the weather. I think we're going to forego any snow. But is it slippery at all? Like I guess loose gravel, or it's all wood planks for your stairs?
It just depends on. Some of the planks are like a quick step away, so you could just be stepping from wood to wood. But there are some planks where there's more space in between, just depending on, if it's flattened out or not. Yeah. And so there is some like dirt that you could be walking on.
Okay. Well, some of my favorite shoes are the Topos. and they have a much wider toe box. At first, when I got them, like looking down, I thought, this was my honest opinion of my toe posts.
Yeah.
I was like, these are dumb. They look like clown shoes, like looking down at my feet, but they felt so good. So when I was buying them and I had spent my time in 7,000 feet and they were so helpful, and I'm like, these feel the best on my feet, but I hate the way they look looking down. And the salesman was like, do you look at other people's feet like while you're out running? And I was like, well, no. And he goes, nobody's gonna be looking at your feet. Yeah, just buy what feels best. And I was like, okay, but I'm so glad that I did. And I told him that I was going to be running a lot of different, like probably pavement, but then also some county roads that are dirt, like maybe a little bit of trail. So I wanted something that was like more versatile. So the bottom of my shoes are kind of like cleats in a way, but they have better grip because it's not super slick on it. So I love them. They're about a year-ish old, maybe not quite a year old, but I've been thinking like maybe it's time.
I know.
Maybe it's time to get some new shoes. But I usually run my shoes into the ground before I decide to get new ones. Yeah. And I thought, well, I should probably like know some good tips. Yeah. For picking out new shoes, when is it the time, that sort of a thing. Yep. So I was, going to the good old Google, but I found some good information about when it's time to get new shoes. Nice. Yeah. So obviously you'll want to just like gauge them, like if there's obvious wear and tear on it, but a good rule of thumb is like how many miles you've put on them. So they say like 300 to 500 mile spectrum around that, like an average runner. If you're taller or like a bigger person, you're going to put more wear and tear on your shoes then. But I'm like, well, how would I know how many miles I've had on my shoes? But I guess like just looking back on my running app, I wish that there was a way to, I guess like on my running app, go back and be like, how many miles did I run last year? But I would have to manually add it up. So I'm gonna have to do a better job of like tracking for that. I know there's apps for it, but my next set of shoes, I will do a better job tracking is my goal for that. But I was looking at Runner's Need. It's an article that was saying all of this. So basically they broke it down. If you're not tracking your exact miles, is that on average, say you were running like 20 miles a week, which in the winter is way less, than what I'm able to run. But you would need to replace your shoes like every 4 to 6 months. Gotcha. But that's also a good fact for me to go to John and be like, honey, I'm at my 6-month mark. Yeah. It is time. But just to like visually look at your shoes, see if there are any, holes, that sort of a thing. And also it matters what surface you're running on, like gravel versus your paved road, something like that. And you have to wear your shoes for what they're for. Sure. Right? Like if you got road running shoes and then you're running trails all the time, you're going to go through them faster. Gotcha. So if you want to do both of those things, either get a shoe that's meant for both or get different shoes for your different activities. Yeah. Yeah.
But then that's also like the same for it. Like if I buy running shoes, but then I'm wearing them to run errands, and it's kind of like not empty miles, but it's you're still impacting your shoes.
You are. And this article actually says only use your shoes for running if you want them to last longer. Yeah. Which I get, but at the same time, I don't know. I guess it's hard in my mind to be like, I have a pair of running shoes and then I have a pair of just out and about tennis shoes. Because before I was a runner, like tennis shoes were just what I would wear to slip on and go do errands. Yeah. But now that I'm getting more into this, I really think the next pair of shoes that I get, I will try and be more dedicated about taking care of them, only wearing them for running, like that sort of a thing. But also like your running style makes a difference, knowing where your feet strike, which I haven't really paid attention to it too much, But I guess if you look at the bottom of your shoes, you can see where it rubs more depending on where you impact. But if you're just like a natural pronator, if your feet are turning in or out naturally, there's not a whole bunch you can do about that.
Right.
And your shoes are going to wear more if your feet are constantly turned in. Yeah. Right? That sort of a thing. For my birthday last year, though, John got me a new pair of running shoes, which was so sweet of him to look into what would be good for a newer runner. Yeah. So he picked out a pair of Under Armour shoes for me, which I like. They're more cushiony, so when I'm wearing them on paved roads, I like the way it feels better. I like my Topos for sure for dirt road things. But if you're switching them out, it will last longer. Oh, okay. And then this tip, though, that I read on the internet, for the internet, it said write the date you bought your shoes on the inside, and then you'll be able to know when your 6-month mark is up if you're wearing them consistently. Nice. And if you didn't get your shoes for your birthday and know 6 months from your birthday. Nice. And then if you're having any new pains that are coming up, maybe think, oh, maybe my shoes are breaking down. Yeah. So if you're like, wait, when was my birthday? Oh, 6 months ago, and my knee hurts. Yeah. So okay. It's time for new shoes. And then it's a good idea to have 2 pairs of running shoes, not only for the wear and tear, but you told me this. Yeah. Is that they can dry out. Yeah. After you wear them, it's really good to let them air out, dry out, and not wear the same shoes back to back. I don't know. I guess when I started running, I didn't realize how expensive all of the equipment can add up to be. Yeah. I just think, I'm just going to go run outside my door. Yeah. Oh, well, the way that these tips make it sound, it's like I'm going to need 3 different pairs of shoes every 6 months. Maybe one day. Yeah. But here's 5 major wear and tear signs. Okay. So if there's worn upper where the sole is fine, but you have a hole in the top of your shoe. Oh. I've seen pictures of this happening. Oh. Have you?
Like in the mesh, you mean? Yeah. Or the softer.
Yeah. Yeah. Has that happened to you before?
I feel like just not with a running shoe, but I just feel like as a kid. Yeah. You know what I mean? When you wore your shoes or your parents made you wear your shoes into the ground. Yeah.
My kids' shoes actually always do that. When it's time for new shoes, you can see their big toe poking out. But that goes to show you that maybe if that's happening to you as a runner, you need bigger shoes. Yeah. And then fraying on the inside of the heel might also say that you're not wearing the right size either, because if your ankle and heel is slipping while you're running, or you need to tighten up your shoelaces while you're running. If the midsole feels too soft, it could be that you're really breaking it down and it doesn't have that shock absorption anymore. Yeah. And then if the shoes don't stand straight when on a flat surface, right? Because if you're wearing it down in one area, your shoes could be tipping in. So even if you don't have them on, just set them down and look. If they're not laying flat, you've worn them into the ground.
Literally.
And then if the heel counter becomes less supportive or even mobile, so that back thick part, if it breaks apart. Again, as I'm saying this, I'm totally thinking about my kids' shoes, all of the things that start to fall apart with it. But mainly, if you find your shoes aren't lasting as long as they should be, the tips to get the most out of each pair, and I vow to take care of my next pair of running shoes like this, because I think I break almost every single one of these rules. Yeah. Only wear your shoes for running. Yeah. We talked about that. Obviously, the more you wear them for activities other than running, the quicker they're going to wear. And an emphasis is placed on the shoes in areas that wouldn't necessarily be placed on if you were running. And it just, like you said, adds empty miles. You're so smart. And then always undo and redo your laces. I need to look in a mirror and say this. Yeah. It's okay that it takes an extra 15 seconds to untie and tie my shoes, because slipping them on and off will wear the heel down and stretch out the shoe. But an alternative, and I seriously might look into this, is they have shoes that don't need to be tied. There's Nathan lock laces. And back in the day, I used to snowboard, and they had a similar, like my snowboarding boots had a similar lacing system where you would just kind of like twist and untwist to tighten your laces. So I might look into that. But keeping your shoes clean, getting any rocks out of the tread, you know, anything like that. Lower cut socks can prematurely wear out the inside, which I didn't think about.
Yeah.
I love low cut socks, or like even no-show socks. But supposedly, if you're going through shoes, you can wear higher socks to keep the wear down around the inside of your shoe.
Interesting.
Yeah. But I feel like my Topos are going to be good shoes for the incline, even though it's not running.
Yeah, I'm going to wear mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, good plan. Let's do some fast facts.
Fast facts.
Ready? Okay, get your fast brain on.
It's on.
Okay.
My ears are off though. Joking, they're on.
They're on.
Okay.
Okay. Here's the questions.
Tell me.
You haven't seen these yet, right?
No.
Okay. What keeps you up at night?
Oh my God.
Or keeps you from falling asleep?
What doesn't keep me from falling asleep? I don't know if it's like a mom thing, a woman thing, or just me thing, but I can't go to sleep without like listening to something because my brain doesn't turn off.
Oh.
I'll keep myself up being like, I gotta do my grocery shopping list. I gotta like do this and do that. And then I'm like wondering and thinking and making all these lists and like, you know, whatever it is. So like everything. But I think just day-to-day stuff, you know, but yeah, I always have to fall asleep listening to like a podcast or a show or something.
Do you put headphones in, or do you have it playing on your phone?
No, I put headphones in.
You fall asleep with headphones?
Yeah.
And it doesn't hurt your ears?
Sometimes.
You like wake up in the morning with a sore ear?
Yeah. But sometimes I wake up and then I take them out, you know, and I put everything away and then I go back to sleep. And that seems to be fine. Like I'm not like awake for the rest of the night. Sometimes I wake up, like my alarm goes off and I'm like, oh, I still have my earbuds in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have a timer on your phone so that it'll stop playing something?
With my podcast, it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll have the TV on and fall asleep, like just with the noise. But lately, I just want pitch dark with the fan on. And John is always envious of my ability to fall asleep very quickly at night. But as I'm falling asleep, I'm still doing all of that. Like almost like invisible work, behind the scenes work of planning out. I'm like, oh, tomorrow is library day for the boys. Make sure that I have their book in their backpack. And did I sign that permission slip with the $2 in the like ready to go? And do I have stuff to pack lunches? All of the mom things.
You know, I wish at the beginning of the school year they were like, these are the field trips. I need $20 to cover everything.
Right.
Like, who has $2 in their wallet at any given time?
Like, hey, boys, can you go get $2 out of your piggy bank
Seriously. I either have, like, a 20 or, like, you know what I mean? Like, I hardly ever have cash.
I don't really have cash on me that often either.
Okay.
But, yeah, that's a great idea. Maybe we'll write the school about that. Okay. What's the last thing you Googled?
Okay.
Do you know?
Yes, because I did it last night.
Okay.
I Googled mortician.
Wow. Wowza, that's dark. What are you thinking? Why did you Google mortician?
I don't know. I kind of want to just leave it at that. But no, because 85% of my Googling is how to spell things.
Oh, okay.
So I needed to know how to spell it.
Do you Google how do you spell, or do you just type the word?
No, I just type the word.
Maybe for, like, your own background, I don't know, like, if ever a background search was ever done on you, you might start adding how do you spell behind some of these dark words.
That's true.
Like, no, if you don't know how to spell poison, how do you spell poison?
And, I needed it for an English assignment.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Well, mine is not as good as yours for what I Googled last. I was looking at taking the boys to Dinosaur Ridge. It's in Morrison, and I was just Googling their hours.
Yeah.
Of,
Is that
operation.
the national park where you can see the dinosaur steps?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they have fossils, dinosaur steps, and then they talk a lot about the geology of the different rocks, and you can see the different layers, and they have a guided tour of it. So
that's cool.
Yeah, I did not Google mortician. I love it. Okay, what did you have for breakfast today?
Coffee.
Yeah?
And more coffee. I'm bad at breakfast. I'm not consistent. In the summers when I get up early for my runs, I'm better at breakfasts because I try to make a point to eat afterwards.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm bad.
Not so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually I don't eat breakfast at the breakfast time either, but this morning I knew I was going to have enough time for a run this morning and I wanted to eat beforehand. So I had an English muffin with peanut butter and cinnamon honey butter with a banana because running and bananas go together. No, anytime I have English muffins, I always do 2 open face.
Yeah.
I don't like to do a sandwich because then I don't get to enjoy it as long. If I do open face, you get to have more. 2 of them. In my head, I say it's 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay.
What is your favorite part of your job?
I don't know. I think I just like it overall in general. So, but I like dental assisting. I don't know. I don't have a good answer.
It's not the blood and gore of extractions?
I guess I have favorite procedures.
Okay.
But I think as a dental assistant, I like the something that kind of I think blew my mind when I was first learning the field is how much of your body's health is connected to like your mouth health. And so I think that's just so much is going on in this little area that I just find fascinating.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Currently, I'm a nurse.
Yeah.
But I'm doing insurance work as a nurse right now. It just jives with my mom life and mom schedule. So there's not anything that I love about my job beyond scheduling. Like, having a flexible schedule is the current favorite part of my job. But when I was taking care of patients like at the bedside, I think that was just my favorite part, was getting to help people get better. Like that, just it's very exciting. Yeah. Like think on your feet, that type of a thing. Yeah. I honestly haven't had to think on my feet since I started this new job, so there hasn't been as much of a challenge, but I guess I like the challenge of being a nurse. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe one day I'll get back to it, but for now I'm going to enjoy my, 8 to 5. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, last question. We got to know, any new TV shows, anything you're binging, getting caught up on?
I guess nothing new. I'm still slowly but steadily getting through Love is Blind. And they've just left the Dominican Republic. And you know what it is.
Tell me what it is.
About this season.
I don't love this season.
Yes.
It's like, say what you're going to say and then I'll let you know. I'm not
feeling the connections this season as opposed to last season where there were like good couples that came out of it. If no one gets married at the end of the season, I'm not going to be shocked. Like I just,
I feel like it's getting to a point now where people know they will be famous if they make it onto the show. It's what it feels like, is they're in it for the fame and the drama and not the finding the love. That's how I feel about this season. Yeah. I don't love it.
Yeah. I'm not somebody who like will follow everybody
Yeah.
just because they were on a show.
No.
I have like a couple of people, but only because I really like them. But I know people who like, you know, Bachelor, Bachelorette will find everyone on social media.
Yes.
And follow them. And that's just.
That's what they like to do.
Yeah. That's fine.
Yep.
It's fine.
That's fine.
But yeah, so otherwise I've been trying to watch more movies and documentaries because I feel like TV shows are great, but I almost will get bored.
Yeah.
In like a weird way, even though they're shorter.
Uh-huh.
I just finished The Mission documentary.
Yes.
On Disney Plus, which was amazing. And yeah, just trying to watch more movies.
Okay. Yeah. I watched a few documentaries this last week.
Yeah.
You had told me about the movie Foxcatcher. Mm-hmm. And I was looking that up and I couldn't find the movie part, but I found the documentary on the real story.
Cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it was just interesting to see, just because we're in the wrestling season.
Yeah.
So Foxcatcher was about the build up of like the U.S. Olympic wrestling team, like grown adults.
Yeah.
Wrestling. Well, I'm just saying, like, it wasn't like college wrestling. It wasn't high school wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, it was like these men who were looking to keep their career as wrestlers going.
Yeah.
But it took a crazy twist.
Yeah.
And the real story is insane and heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So that was a good documentary. And then I watched another one on the Paradise Fire in California. And then I watched one on Arnold Schwarzenegger. So it was like
the whole spectrum there.
I learned a whole bunch. And I was telling you, too, I must have been really emotional last week. Like, all three of those documentaries made me cry at some point. So it was just heavy.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I needed my long run this morning. Because I was like, I've got to blow off whatever I'm holding on to that's like making me cry over these documentaries.
That's funny.
Because normally I'm not a crier. Anyways, you know. Well, on that note, I have a listener story that I think is going to make you laugh a little.
Okay, I was going to say, if you say you were going to make me cry.
No,
we're not doing that.
It's not going to make you cry. I loved this story. This is from Courtney G., and she's from New Brunswick, Canada.
Okay.
I love it. And her running story starts back in 2006. She says, I was in university, which I love that they call it university.
Yeah.
Not college. Mm-hmm. She was in university, and she had a friend that asked her if she wanted to sign up for a destination marathon with the Arthritis Society's Joints in Motion program. So it was for arthritis. That was going to be the cause that they were running for. And she said she had some high school basketball warm-ups, but had never really done any sort of running.
Okay.
Okay?
And she's going to do a marathon.
Yeah.
Okay.
She goes, naturally, I said yes.
Sure.
Let's do it. And she said, who wouldn't want to go to Honolulu, Hawaii?
Okay.
Spend 10 days on the beach.
Okay.
And all I had to do, she said, was raise $5,400 and bam, sun and sand. So already she's super ambitious. She's like, oh, a marathon? Yeah. Raise almost $5,500? Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
Like, she's super ambitious. So she said, said yes. And she said, well, I also had to run a full marathon, but strangely enough, she didn't really even worry about like what that was. She said she really didn't even know how many kilometers that entailed, nor did she stop to find out. She just thought, marathon, let's do it. So she had gone for the occasional 4 to 5 kilometer jog here and there. She bought herself a new running hat.
Let's go.
She said, I figured I was good to go. And then a couple months before they were set to fly to Hawaii, her friend dropped out. Yeah. She said there's no way she could run that distance, is what her friend said. And then she found out from one of the coordinators that they did have the option to still go to Hawaii. They had raised the money, so if they didn't want to do the full marathon, they could do a hike, a kilometer, or just, quote unquote, the half marathon. So there were options for that. But nope, her friend dropped out, was like, I can't run. I can't do this.
Okay.
She goes, and me? Well, I remained true to the fact that I was going to do the whole thing. Still not really comprehending what 42.2 kilometers was in the heat of Honolulu.
Yeah.
So she said, anyways, I set off alone, ate a bunch of pasta with the other members from the Joints in Motion team. Race began at 5 a.m. the next morning, and she said she actually survived. She said she's never been so hot in her entire life.
Oh my gosh.
But she finished at 5 hours and 14 minutes. Not too shabby for never having been on a run more than 8 kilometers before. It was awesome. She said, I realized looking back at just how ridiculous and spontaneous it was, but it launched her into running longer distances and learning to love it.
Okay.
She said, I think if I had started with shorter distances, it would have taken her a lot longer to get to running a marathon simply for the mental side of it. And she went on to compete more road races, and her time significantly improved. And then she switched to trail because her husband loved trail running, and he convinced her that she would love trail running. Mm-hmm. So one day he told her that he signed them up for a tough 25-kilometer race. So I better hit the forest, is what she said. But she's now done a few 50-kilometer races, a 70 kilometers, and 2 87 kilometers. And she's hoping to do a 100-miler in the future.
That's cool.
I know. She said, will I ever feel ready? Probably not, but I'll do it anyway.
That's
That was great. But that just reminded me of like what happens to us. Because we're like, hey, this sounds a little crazy, but like, do you want to do it? But thank you for never bailing on me.
I was just going to say.
We've stuck through it.
Yeah.
So far. But if you have a listener story that you want to share, we want to hear it. You can email us at runinhershoes@runsister.com. And be sure to share this podcast with all of your running besties, whether they rope you into doing crazy races or not. And we will see you guys next week.
All right. See you next week.
Thanks for listening to Run in Her Shoes. Run in Her Shoes podcast is produced and edited by Amber Linza and Robin Ogden. It's time to run, sister.